a HR professional with extensive experience in people and culture management, spanning across the NGO and the public sectors. She partners with organizations to co-create thriving workplaces. She is the director at WST People and Culture Management Consultants. We are talking about Susan Omedi. You clap until she gets a mic. You clap until she gets a mic. Yeah. Take that one. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so I'm very honored to be here this afternoon. And the one thing, maybe I start
I'm about to ask you a question, though.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry,
I'm about to ask you a question.
Yes, sorry.
I ask you a question
Yes,
and then
please.
you
Yes, then I
weave
get back to
with
that.
everything
Yes,
else, right?
yes.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, great. So in your chapter,
Yes.
you did talk about the need to harness the power of women at the workplace. What would you highlight as a powerful strategy to bring in more women into the workplace and to enable them to thrive?
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So the story I was going to tell you, I'm a woman who grew up with 8 men in the family. It was just my mother and me and my 7 brothers, a house manager, male, and my father. So my whole life was around men. So at the workplace also, somehow I was always around men. So my story really navigates the workplace as a woman, but working with men and also learning from the men. So I liked what I think Dr. Mushemi said about the whole issue of male allies. The story, the chapter I write, also really highlights the power of that. Because sometimes we look at them versus us, but that's not the story really. I saw the power of male allies, and anybody reading my chapter, you'll see a lot of men on whose great shoulders I stood upon, yeah? So that's one very powerful message. So I'd like to sum up the whole chapter in these ways. Early messages, the invisible door, and the glass ceiling. So what are the strategies we used for that? So the early messages are what Mr. Dosso talked about earlier. When you grow up as a child, my brothers were all allowed to study sciences. They were encouraged, actually, not allowed. They were pushed towards the sciences. My father didn't really. So long as I was passing, I did the most ridiculous combination of subjects you can think of. I learned German, I learned French, and just anything that I felt I could do. So long as I passed, there was no issue. But my brothers, physics, chemistry, biology, and stuff like that. So I pitied them, but I didn't quite feel bad because they were soft on me, yeah. So that later I realized worked for me, but also against me, because that actually works against women going into the workplace. We don't have so many women entering the IT, the science space, etc. So whereas it looked okay and soft for me, it was an early message that wasn't good for me. So those early messages, the ecosystem that surrounds our upbringing as women can actually work against us. When you look at the social media, when you think of a doctor, you'll always see a male doctor. When you look at a pilot, it's normally a man. But when you look at a nurse, most likely it will be a lady, yeah? So those messages actually now start influencing the kind of choices we make as women. So I think those are some of the things I'm seeking to encourage leaders to challenge. The ecosystem is larger, so it's about the policy frameworks and all those. How can we change all that so that we have more women thinking differently, so that even as they get to this invisible door, which is formed by all these early messages, the cultural messages that they get, then they can start viewing themselves differently. Then they get through that invisible door. Sometimes even the job ads you see, they're actually telling you we want a man who can go to Isiolo, because it's a hard, what do you call it? It's not an easy station. So those are some of the things that keep women out. Then they get into the workplace. So again, the chapter talks about what stops women from thriving at the workplace. So I'm challenging leaders really to think about what are some of the job designs. If you make this woman work 24/7, really, can they thrive if you have 3 kids, etc.? So it's about challenging our mindset. Looking at COVID, what did it teach us? It means that we can actually work a lot from home, use IT. So there's so many other ways of work. It's not only about having coaching, role models, all, and I got serious and did an MBA, and that's why I ended up in HR. Thank you.
I love it. Oh my goodness, Susan. I want to read that chapter. I mean, the women in this room want to read that chapter. Thank you very much. And thank you for that. I think we want to know how we can break the proverbial glass ceiling. And so we want to read that. Thank you for